Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and lop that first video off and then start in on these rights here. Okay, so similar to what I was just telling you with the articles to the Constitution, it's not important for you to know the exact text of the Constitution, nor is it important for you to know the exact text of the amendments that we use in criminal justice. What is important for you to know is what rights the various amendments provide and the various case law passed down by the Supreme Court that affects those rights. Okay, so here on this slide, we're talking about the First Amendment, which provides the rights of the freedom of speech, the freedom of peaceable assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, and freedom from the government establishment of religion. Okay, so there is a difference there between the two of freedom of religion and freedom of government from government establishment of religion. Okay, so the freedom of religion is your right to choose whatever religion or no religion to participate in. So you could be Baptist, Catholic, like Christian, as in the first Christian church. You could be Buddhist, Hindu, atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to be. The United States government has established this in the First Amendment rights. Okay, now the difference between the freedom of religion and the freedom from government establishment of religion is that the freedom of religion allows you to choose, but it also, then we have the freedom from government establishment of religion, that gives you the freedom to be free from any government established religion. So think about the time that the United States Constitution was written and these amendments were passed. The United Kingdom has the Church of England, the Church of Scotland, the Church of Ireland or Wales or whatever, So the various nations that make up the United Kingdom have their own churches. Um, So in England, there is the Catholic Church and the Church of England, at least at this time. And the sovereign, being the king or the queen at the time, who is the sovereign over the United Kingdom, is the supreme head of that Church of England and Scotland and whatnot like that. And of course, each of those churches is developed independent from the others, so they have various rules that are different from each other. But it is the government sanctioned religion of the state. Now, they don't lop your head off in the United Kingdom for not attending the Church of England. They really don't even frown upon whether you go or you don't go to church at all. But at the time that this right was established, this was a very big deal. So very important things. So now on this slide and the following slides, you'll notice on the right side, I have landmark cases. These are United States Supreme Court cases that deal with and affect the rights guaranteed by the amendment. And you'll hear me say it repeatedly throughout this course. Whenever you see a case citation, especially like this, if I have made a point of including a case citation in the slides, you would be best served to look up that case citation and read the syllabus of the court and the ruling. You understand that these case rulings can be upwards of 50 to 100, 200 pages. But the syllabus of the court and the ruling will cut that down to like 5, maybe 10 pages at most, and it's all double spaced. So literally, you're talking about maybe 5 or 10 minutes worth of reading at the most. Okay, if you read the syllabus and the ruling. But if you see these case citations, it's important for you, or it's important enough for me to list it. It's important for you to find it and read it and become familiar with the ruling and how it affects what I've attached that case to. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Of course, Second Amendment right is the right to keep and bear arms. The Fourth Amendment, this is a big one. It gives the public the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. It establishes the requirement for search warrants, and that the search warrants have to be issued upon a sworn statement or affidavit of probable cause. And then it also we get the exclusionary rule from some case law and everything that affects our unreasonable search and seizure there. Okay, so then moving on in the Fifth Amendment, we're granted double the right to be free from double jeopardy, which is to be tried twice in the same jurisdiction for the same crime. So a big difference here. Okay, understand that. Take for instance the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Okay, at that time, it was not illegal at the federal level to kill the president. So, Lee Harvey Oswald, the shooter in that instance, or the alleged shooter, mind you, because he was killed by Jack Ruby before he ever made it to trial. But the alleged shooter there was going to be tried in the state of Texas for murder. So here's the thing: is since the assassination of President Kennedy, um, the federal government has made it illegal to kill the president. And so, in this instance, with double jeopardy, let's say it had been illegal whenever they killed President Kennedy, then Lee Harvey Oswald could actually have been tried twice, once for murder within the state of Texas and once for assassinating the President of the United States in the federal district court, because it's two separate crimes in two separate jurisdictions. So it's technically not double jeopardy. Okay. So let's move on here. Right to be free from self incrimination. That is the right to remain silent. Okay. And then, of course, taking of private property without just compensation, and the right to eminent domain there. Okay. The Sixth Amendment. This is a biggie. This is where we get the right to counsel, the right to an attorney there, confrontation of adverse witnesses. That would be the right to cross examination, compulsory process to obtain witness testimony. That would be the availability of having the court issue subpoenas on the defendant's behalf, notice of accusation, which would be to have the charges read publicly and to face their accuser. A public trial, obviously, to have their trial handled in public for all of the world to see, rather than just the king hearing the case and deciding to lop somebody's head off. And then there's also the trial by impartial jury in non-petty criminal cases, which at that time, at the time that the Sixth Amendment was written, I do believe that the text says cases involving more than $20. But they basically described it as non-petty and set the dollar limit of non-petty as $20 at that time. And then, of course, the right to speedy trial, which, as we learned in the intro to criminal justice class, is a total of, I believe, 100 days. So you have 30 days from arrest to arraignment, and then 70 days from arraignment to trial. So 100 days total. Okay, so then we come to the Eighth Amendment. This is a big one. The right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment, and to not have excessive fines imposed. So these are big ones. Cruel and unusual punishment comes a lot of times out of the correctional system, or the corrections part of the system. And then, of course, excessive fines, that's usually from the court. And then you'll see here that I've included the 14th Amendment in the Bill of Rights. That's because the 14th Amendment makes the Bill of Rights, the 1st through the 10th, applicable to the states. It's a Reconstruction era amendment. And so it also requires due process and equal protection under the law. So basically what this says is now those, the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th Amendments that had all of these rights under criminal justice, that they had only applied to the federal government, but now they apply to the state governments as well. And so then here we have indictment by grand jury and a probable cause hearing, and I will explain that here in just a second on another video for you.